Okay, I'm going to start recording, so whatever you do or say is going to be used against you later now.
Canon will be used against you in a court of law?
Yep. Looks like Eric's there. Hi, Kelly.
Hey,
How you doing?
good. How about you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Yep, just trying to get back in the swing of things. It wasn't even like a holiday weekend, but it felt like it just because, being a dad, it's such an important day for me. So I feel like I should still be on vacation. Or people should still be treating me nicely. That's what I'm feeling.
Is that what it is?
Yes, and they're not. And,
You get one day a
well,
year.
Just
What's that?
You get one day a year. That's it. Quit
Just
it.
that? Yeah.
I
But it
gotta
was only
remind
about
you.
6 hours. So I was in the car the rest of the time. So I still am owed 6 hours somewhere. I'll tell my kid. Robert, are you on here yet?
I am.
Good to have you.
I see you, but you don't see me, I guess, right?
Yeah, let's keep it that way.
How do
I'm
I
here
get
too. I'm
this
just
set
sparing
video
you guys
going?
having to watch me stuff my face.
Hey, Yazbek, when is your appointment? Is it tomorrow?
Which one?
The 9 million.
No, I already had it.
Oh, you already had it.
Yep.
Did you close it?
I don't know yet. I think we did. We should hopefully know today or tomorrow.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you suddenly fall off this call, we'll know that you got word one way or the other, right?
Exactly.
That's good. But you did a good job with it?
I think we did. Yeah, we leveraged the heck out of the brand and global luxury, and I mean, yeah, I can't imagine they wouldn't go with us.
Good. I'll keep my fingers crossed for another day or so, I suppose.
Thank you. Yes, please. Think happy thoughts.
Were you able to use that wealth engine thing, or was it too wordy?
I didn't use what you sent me, but thank you for sending it to me. I ended up getting in touch with them directly and getting a user, account or whatever to click around in there and stuff. That's amazing, by the way. It's insane. It's super detailed. Like there's 46 different data points, for the search or whatever to narrow down your list of prospects.
Right. Like you can even do sideburns, I think.
Yeah, like 46 different. I mean, I don't even know. I went through the first, 15, and it was insane.
Right.
All right, well, it's 5 minutes after, so why don't we get this thing started? So welcome, Elite Mastermind call. I thought since we're on the heels of having Craig Hogan in town, and there was so much information, I thought it might behoove all of us to spend some time talking more about global luxury. I'll do some screen share. We can dig in. Derek's got some samples just to make sure that we're all on the same page about what resources are available to us. Because I know we get all this information at us all at one time, and especially the Telluride folks. And you go, okay, that was awesome. And wait a minute, what was it that he said about, and where do I find that? And what are some resources? And I know I've gotten some emails asking, what's the price threshold and when's the next certification class? So I thought what we do is we dig into some of these things and make sure that everybody knew what was available. It's interesting timing. So I got an email this morning from Craig alerting me to the fact that one of our offices has been how do you word that? Not nominated, but recognized as a global luxury office. And so just as a recap, right, there's 3,000 offices worldwide, and less than 2% of the offices would be recognized as global luxury level offices. And there's certain criteria that they use to identify or name those. One is the number percentage-wise of your agents that are global luxury certified. Number two is the number of properties that you represent that are in the global luxury space. And I believe that your listings and sales have to be greater than 10% of your total volume needs to be in the global luxury space. And then there's also a design element of your that has to meet both from a location and design perspective. And so I'm super excited. The office was Sun Valley.
Really?
So Sun Valley is going to get this this title as a global luxury office. So of course my response to him was, thank you. What about the rest, right? And so I want to talk a little bit about how we can do that. I believe that if you're less than 2% of all of the offices are going to be named under this, I got to believe there's a lot of juice that comes along with that moniker. So hopefully we'll gain some perspective on that. But Derek, dude, congratulations, man.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Thanks. That's very good to hear.
Yeah.
Even with Ned Burns in our office, we're a global luxury office.
Even with you as the manager is what I was thinking. But yeah.
Hey.
Right.
Someone can come to my defense, Godfather.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Well, good.
Awkward
Thanks for
pause.
passing that news along.
Awkward silence.
I tried, but I was muted out, so Eric's great.
I love it. Thanks, Schilling. All right, so the Global Luxury Conference was recorded in Sun Valley, and that is now available to, I believe I saw an email that went out from Derek. I believe there was also one that went out last week, but Derek, you want to tell everybody where they can find that?
Yeah, so just like almost everything that we do from a back-end perspective, it lives on our Inside Track YouTube channel. And so a simple search there will reveal it. I have it queued up and ready to go here, and so I'm happy to send that link after this so that you can watch it. It's about a half hour. It didn't encompass the whole hour and a half. Oddly, the jokes that I was telling are not in there. I guess it was an oversight, but so that, it doesn't get everything, but it gives you a feel for what we did, and it's probably a little different than what happened in Steamboat Telluride in Vail, but just a sense of where Craig is coming from and the brand is coming from, and how, and Robert was just talking about this before the call actually started, like leveraging the heck out of the brand, because from a luxury standpoint, and I know it doesn't always feel like that in your individual markets, but from a luxury standpoint, Coldwell Banker does more than anyone. And so knowing some numbers, having a little bit of background about that is super helpful. And that video, it's only a half hour, is some good training and gives you some talking points, as well as an introduction to our tools that I think will help anyone. So, and you're all on this call because you're elite, which means that you've dabbled or you are really expert at luxury properties. And so the more you know about the numbers from a corporate level as well as a company level, the better. So.
Okay. Beautiful. All right, so before we dig too deep in, for those of you that attended the Craig Hogan Global Luxury piece, tell me some of your takeaways. I'm ready.
A lot of you are muted, so make sure you unmute before you say anything.
So Todd, on behalf of the Telluride crew, the 4 hours that we spent with you a couple of weeks ago on Friday, and Craig Hogan was there, we were all overwhelmed with the quantity of information. But I'll tell you, everyone walked away from that meeting feeling that this is the program that's gonna work best for us. And so we look forward to it. But I can't tell you any specific takeaways at this point.
Okay. So Dave, I see you on there. So was there one thing that spoke to you, Dave, with regards to Craig's presentation?
You did here. Done eating my sandwich, so
I got you.
I'm sitting here looking at this, the notes I took that day.
Yeah.
And Robert kind of alluded to this. I just haven't had a chance to look at it, but that wealth engine thing is certainly something I want to take a look at.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I had several several things that I wrote down.
No, I love it. Wealth Engine is perfect. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the other thing that to me is great that's, kind of in process is, I don't know where I put my copy of it. This thing, the new magazine thing.
Uh-huh.
I really think that this is something that can be, we just got to figure out how we get this into like our local hotels and stuff like that,
Yeah.
which
Distribution.
I have some thoughts on if you ever want to talk about that.
Absolutely, yeah. Derek,
but yeah,
Derek
no, I
will
think
definitely reach out to you on that one.
Yeah, I think there's some, there's tools that are there. It's just figuring out how to use them. I'm kind of still in that same boat. I mean, we've been talking about back when it was, before they changed to global luxury and all that. It was like, I just either didn't have the time or the whatever to go to some class in Canada or whatever to get certified. And I'm basically still in that boat, despite the fact that I've probably, sold as many of those $1 million type things as a lot of people in this town. But I just, so I'd like to get that figured out at some point to get the actual.
Yep, we're gonna talk about it here in just a second.
Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna talk about that very thing. Kelly Mays, how about you? Was there one thing that you got from that sticks out?
I'm sitting here with Shannon.
Hey, Shannon.
Let's see. I just had to pull up my notes from it.
Kelly, you went to the Telluride one, is that right?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I thought it was fascinating the work that they put into the magazines and making sure that the weight is right and that people in that price point want to see the magazines. It's not about digital as much for them as it is about print, which kind of turns everything in marketing on its head a little bit, because everything's so digital now.
Great, love it.
Hey, Todd, there seems to be a lot. I just put one in, so we just got it submitted. And apparently once Derek goes and he makes a designation of global luxury, there's a whole lot that goes on the back end. And I'm not a little unclear about exactly what happens, but it sounded like once it gets designated in IQ office, there's a lot of things that get triggered. And, it goes into the Wall Street Journal, which I wasn't familiar with, and the Robb Report. And that's really some good stuff to mention, when you're sitting down there and going ahead and pushing and talking to your clients of what's the benefit of listing with us, to get into the Robb Report and Wall Street Journal. There's a small percent of people think that we should be there. And now we are. And I think that's great.
Cool. Karen, what about you? Karen Shea.
I can't see whether she's on the call or not.
Yeah, she's on. I can see her.
I don't know.
All right. Well,
Karen doesn't have audio. Jump in.
For some reason, I can't talk on mine. I didn't hear the question. I just ran away from my
Just
desk.
to take away from your from the.
Was there one thing that you got from the Global Luxury Conference that sort of stands out to you?
I think the effort for the quality of the marketing materials was probably the one thing I got from it that was impressive. From the logo to the material to the.
How is it up there? You start your project?
Yes.
Is it shredded?
And can you mute yourselves if you're not talking, please?
Great, thanks, Karen.
Yeah, that's my take on it.
Anybody from Telluride? Was there? Would love to hear sort of a new person's take on that. Was there anything specifically that sort of popped out to you? JJ?
It was the box, Todd, with all the materials in it, which I brought away from the global luxury meeting and overnighted it on Monday morning right after the meeting.
Did you? How was that received?
Well, it didn't really work out, but it was great to take a crack at it in the end.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I mean, I think I had lost that listing already, but I wanted to keep trying, and I think it'll help me maybe get it back.
Awesome. Wonderful. Karen, I can see your lips moving, but you've got to hit the unmute button. There you go.
But I joined the call late, so I don't know the question.
The question was the global luxury piece when Craig Hogan was there talking about the global luxury. Was there one thing that stood out to you as,
I'm sure there were many. I'll get back to you.
Got it. Perfect. All right. So let's reframe the question as we think about moving forward and we think about all the opportunities that we have to sort of bring you value and help you prepare properly, whether that be for generating leads in the global luxury space, when you get those at-bats, sealing the deal. Are there any topics specifically that you would like us to make sure that we address in the coming weeks?
Yeah, if you could do a checklist for me, if I could have a checklist, and so I know that on my marketing, there's nothing that I'm missing, because I don't do this every day with the global luxury. So if we just have a cheat sheet, so that I can go, I've done this, and this, and I'm using the system and the tools to maximum capacity.
Yeah,
that would be great.
JK, I love that. That's one of the pieces that's taught at length in the certification course. They actually have, as part of that, a checklist.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. It's been 3 years or so since I've done that, and to be honest,
like I'm with you. I went to the previews one.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, I went to the one down in Denver, back in the day, and so I'm sort of into one of those tweeners. I'm probably, if one comes close, I'll go to it again. I'd love to, but right now, here I am. I got the certification, but I don't have all the current 411. So if I could get some help on that, that would be much appreciated.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. So I thought we would dig in a little bit. So just so everybody understands, once, how do I say this? So we have marketing packages, right? We've got the CV1, the CV2, and the CV3 marketing packages. The CV1 and the CV2 are just sort of standard packages for quote unquote regular properties. The CV3 is very specifically global luxury, right? So if you had a global luxury type listing and you wanted the global luxury type marketing, you'd order the CV3. You do not have to be a global luxury certified agent to order a CV3. That makes sense to everybody?
But your property does.
Your property needs to meet the criteria, right? Exactly.
Right. So there's a tiny bit of a glitch that makes it a little bit difficult, like because I don't see most of the I don't see any of the properties until they're already listed and until the package has been bought. And so you really have to think, am I bringing on something that at a luxury level, and make sure you know ahead of time so that you can order that CV3 so that you can get the global luxury promotion from marketing. So I don't know that there's a way around that, Todd, because it's price point, but it's also about, the presentation of the property. Not every listing that meets the price point is a luxury listing. So.
All right. So let's see, where am I going to go?
Simply because if it's 40 acres, that is really the drawing power, and the house is sort of just a shack, we're not going to click that as global luxury is the thinking there. So.
Did that confuse some folks? If you have any questions, all you have to do is ask. But the bottom line is, on a CV3, it's for global luxury properties. You don't have to have the global luxury certification to enjoy the benefits of a CB3. Now, that being said, you have access, if you're a global luxury certified agent, to a bunch of marketing materials, and it's all through CD Exchange. So I'm going to walk you through just quickly, and please ask as many questions as you want. This is obviously the home page for CD Exchange. Up here in the top right, you see the little button. If I click on the button and I go to Express Docs. So this page is going to look a little different for you because I have access to all of them as a company, but I'm just going to pick myself as an individual agent, right? And so this is what you're going to see. And you can see there's a ton of different products. You got print, brand essentials, personal marketing, Facebook advertising, social IQ, mobile ads, etc. And then obviously you've got a bunch of information down the left. There's several different places that you can find the same information, which I kind of like about this site. I can search right here. I can also, from a visual perspective, search here. I'm going to click on that. And we get into the products that are available to us from a global luxury standpoint, right? Everything from stationery, business cards, brand essential flyers. So when you order a CB3 or really anything, this is where Shawnee's team is digging in and setting up your flyers and your postcards, etc. Let's see here. All right, so I clicked on the marketing materials, and you can see here, this was that 4-page piece, the capabilities brochure, a great leave behind. Now we're into the boxes, right? And we start talking about the listing presentation. Again, you all have the binding machines in each of your offices. These listing presentation covers work in that same binding machine, just so you all are clear. You've got the just sort of the presentation folders. This would be the sort of loose leaf you put in.
So my sound has gone dead.
Yeah, mine has too. Todd, are you there? Looks like his profile just left us, folks. So
I have no idea what's going on with my, it was my iPad just decided to reset itself. Sorry about that, you guys. But this is that listing presentation that was in the box. You can get the kit, which is what each of you were looking at that were on your tables. This is the kit that has all of it.
Todd, can you buy things separately?
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%. Yeah, and this is where you would do all of that.
Okay.
And then this is that 2018 report. We toyed around, I think that was in Sun Valley, we toyed around with making it more custom to the agent. I think that the idea was good. I'm not sure that I loved the execution on the binding, so we're still working through that. This is a beautiful piece in and of itself, though. So it just won't be custom with your photo on it, but it's a great piece, a great leave behind, something wonderful to have at open houses and that kind of thing. All right. Capabilities, let's see. Okay.
Hey, Todd. Robert here. The binder folder, that's great to know that our binding machines work with that. Is there a suggested insert for that you add to, or is that strictly just if you want to make your entire own customized presentation?
Yeah, I think there are materials that we'd have to look through here. But, you know, they've got the listing presentations, right?
I mean, the listing presentation's beautiful. You don't need a binder for that.
Right. So I think it's just more if you wanted to get more custom.
Okay, so there's not like a starting point where you could order the listing presentation separate from its cover to stick in there so you could add pages to it?
Correct.
Okay. That's strange, but okay.
All right, so that's that. Any questions about Express Docs? All right, so I'm going to go, let's see here.
Hey, I guess I still have one other question. Maybe it's the same question. I don't know. But I kept hearing one of those pieces was customizable.
Yes, yeah, you'll have to just dig in. I'm not sure it's that one, but it might be. And the other thing is that, you know, they're on CBX, so they also have digital customizable listing presentations for global luxury. One of them is actually on CBX, and the other I think you can find here on CD Exchange. What I'm going to show you now, and I'll just go home here. 435.
Hey, Robert, why don't you and I talk about that in a little bit? Because when Global Luxury was launched in April 2017, they had one on there for about 3 weeks that was customizable, downloaded as a PowerPoint, and then it left the building. And so they either didn't like it or didn't think it was up to snuff. If you want to talk about how maybe we can figure something like that out, let's do that one-on-one.
That'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah, and I think I know the answer to the question. I think that it became more of a concern from the global luxury folks that it was too customizable, and they were feeling like people were taking a product that they wanted to have at a very, very high level, and people were messing with it, and it was coming out not at the same high level. So again, this is CD Exchange. It's the home screen. If I wanted to search anything, this is where I would do it. So you can see here, you got the global luxury threshold tool. Again, trying to identify what the price point is in your individual market that you have to meet in order to at least qualify from a pricing standpoint for global luxury.
And keep in mind, Todd, for a couple markets, we have our own prices because they just didn't seem to make sense.
I understand. Yeah. Okay, so this is Telluride. You can see it's 987,500. I am going to warn you all. So I did this for Sun Valley, for example. And it came back at 500.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah, which is crazy. But I will tell you that Craig is currently working with the Global Luxury Institute right now to have a third party do the math on what the top of each of the markets is. And so these will be changing. And as Derek just mentioned, in each of our markets, obviously having this in Sun Valley wouldn't work because there's lots of stuff for 500,000. Well, there's not much stuff for 500. That's probably the point. But if you found something, it certainly wouldn't be global luxury worthy. Derek, what is the global luxury limit in Sun Valley?
Sun Valley is 950. Telluride, just because that number is really clunky, is 975 instead of 987.5 or whatever.
It can't be less. It has to be equal to or greater than.
Okay. Well, bump it up to 987.5 then, I guess. Vail is 915, 915. Bozeman is 750, and then the rest are 500.
Right. All right. One more piece then here in CB Exchange is the Global Luxury Certification. As Jim Kuhn had sort of alluded to, he and a bunch of others have taken a certification course that was previous to the Global Luxury launch. I know that they gave us sort of the grandfathered in piece. I would tell you this, the program is so different that if you really want to work in the global luxury space, you need to go take the new class. It's that different. So the question would be, all right, well, where is it, and how do I find out? So here's where you would find out, right? So you do the search, and you can see here all of the dates, certification courses. British Columbia on June 27th, Minneapolis July 16th, Indianapolis August 14th, and Seattle. Oh, that's weird.
What?
Well, what's September, Seattle, October 24?
Well, go down a bit. There are links, so that they're clearer links, I think. So a little bit more. Yeah, right down there.
Okay.
I don't know what the September was, other than the month between August and October. So maybe they just didn't want to leave September feeling lonely.
These courses, they fill up very, very quickly. So if you want to go to one of those courses, you need to get in there as soon as you possibly can. Robert Schilling, you went to the one in Florida? Yes?
I tried to go to Florida, it filled up, and then I was in, and then the hurricane, and then I ended up going to Washington, D.C. instead.
Oh, so you did go. How was it?
It was great. It was really good. Yeah.
What was so great about it?
A lot of it's just the networking that I liked, meeting different brokers, and I've passed a lead on to someone in Texas already, so it's good.
Right, already paid off. Nice. That's great. Good for you, man.
So in terms of the trainings and Tellurriders, first of all, I hope you don't mind I call you Tellurriders. It just rolls off the tongue for me. But you used to have to be already qualified in order to enroll. They took the qualifications out because they want more people trained to help you get to qualified. So that's why they fill up much faster. But once you take the course, then you have a window of time in which to fulfill the production requirements, which is over a 24-month period, you have to have had three transactions, at or above the global luxury price threshold in your area. If you double end something, it only counts as one, so it's an actual sale that you need to have. You need to have three of those in a two-year period in order to earn the qualification. So
and it can be the 24-month period previously. So for those of you in Telluride, like whatever you've done for the last 24 months, many of you already qualify. So it's just a matter of attending the certification course.
Yeah. And if you have one 3 months ago, you get two in the next year, that counts as well. So it's as Todd's saying, a 24-month window before and or after. So
I'm interested to know from the materials perspective, Karen was talking about like they spent a great deal of time and research, making sure that the quality of the product and the presentation of the product was really spectacular. And I know there's a bunch of information in those that obviously everybody needs to know, because you need to be able to talk about what the syndication is and how it's different. You need to be able to talk about the numbers and why they should be with Coldwell Banker and not a Sotheby's or a Christie's or whatever the case may be. And I think you, hopefully from that conversation with Craig, you left there understanding that the next closest competitor, which was Sotheby's, did less than half the number of global luxury type transactions, and so that you can have those conversations. I know that I don't have the materials here because I'm working out of my house, my home office today, but Derek, you've got yours, correct?
Correct.
I'd love to know what you all are using the materials for, or how you envision using them in the future.
I use the box almost as not a briefcase, but I'll carry it into a presentation without the intention of leaving it. So I set it down, I open and close it every now and then, depending on what I'm taking out of it. So they're seeing all the quality materials, but I'm not leaving a box every time I go to a listing presentation, but I still get the bang of them seeing the quality of what kind of we're all about.
Okay.
It looks really great sitting on the table.
Yeah, right.
I like that idea. This is Donna. I think that's a great idea, not leaving it, because you don't know if you're going to get the listing.
Okay. JJ, you mentioned that you had mailed it off. And I know that was a property that you felt like it was sort of a last ditch effort kind of deal, but would you do that on a regular basis for other properties? Again, your resort markets, many times your clients aren't there, right?
You're muted, JJ.
Hi, it's Karen.
Okay.
I could tell you we don't meet many of our listing clients.
Yeah. So how would you use the marketing materials, those presentation materials?
I would send it off as a follow-up.
Follow-up?
To my first phone call with them.
Okay.
After
So you have the phone call, I'm interested in listing my property, you'd package it up, you'd send it to them.
I think I'd have to send it Federal Express too, because when you're on you've got to keep the momentum.
Right, yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
I'll definitely do that.
So that's kind of a pre-listing thing.
Well, you get the phone call, and then the second phone call is when you close. So you have the pre-listing phone call where you talk about what you're going to do. Then you send the box, and I think in the box I would send my listing agreement, and then maybe at the same time email the listing agreement for its signature. I'd put draft on the listing agreement so that they can look at it. That's what I would do.
Okay.
And put draft, have them look at it and see what changes they would want to make, so that when I talk to them the second time and close the listing, we'll already have the changes. Then I'll send off it for its signature.
Great, love it. Who else?
An idea.
How much of this is available electronically in a PDF? I'd like the presentation. I like, and Craig said, hey, it's big, it's heavy, it looks good. But if we get that call, I just like having something that afternoon. So when I hang up the phone, there's something, I can text them, says you've got mail, and there's something in their box.
By the way, you're dating yourself with that. You never ever say that again, as long as you live.
You've got mail.
I use it all the time. I stole it from Stephanie, and I love it. I use it all the time. Yes, I got gray hair, so shut up.
So to answer your question, Jim, I think there's a lot of it that is available in digital form. One thing that I heard that I thought was really cool was somebody said that they were going to create a video of them actually doing a presentation of the listing presentation, right? Much quicker. I mean, it's not what you would consider like we're going to be here, but it's like, here are the materials, and here are some of the things, and here's what I would do, and da-da-da-da. And by the way, it's on its way, look for it in the mail or something like that. I don't know. But I don't think that it, what we heard from Craig was so much of it is the weight. So much of it is the experience that these luxury type clients are wanting to see their stuff in high quality print. So you might lose some of that as you just stay digital.
Yeah, that's a balance, I think, and Karen spoke to this a little bit, Karen McCarthy, about, if you send that thing off after having that conversation, it takes some of the power away from you to sit there and open it and have, just make sure that they're going through it the right way, because those are really impressive and they're expensive. So you have to figure, is this going to move the needle the way I want without me being there to actually unhinge it for them? So, and it might be totally client dependent. Jim, one thing that I'll make sure is available to everybody in a PDF is that Todd showed the report in CB Exchange, which is like a 40-page document about global luxury, the current state, and all of that. That's available as a PDF, and I'll make sure, probably not the most riveting thing to send, because it's a lot of information about a lot of different markets, but it still speaks to Coldwell Banker's footprint, which is massive in the luxury market.
Yeah, and I think it depends on who you are, right? I mean, personality types, some are going to love that. So don't downplay it. The reality is that it speaks to the primary markets and what's happening in the luxury space. It's really, really important information, and frankly, it's one of the reasons that Coldwell Banker continues to dominate. So I think that's a great forward. That's a great idea, Derek. I love that.
And we do have our Homes and Estates magazine that Dave Maloney was championing earlier online. I think it's in the right format. I haven't signed off completely on that, but that is something that you could forward and say, hey, and look, this is our company, right? 32
That's an e-mag though, right? That's not a PDF. That's an e-magazine, not a PDF, right?
Correct. That's what I meant to say. Yes. E-mag.
Awesome. And Shawnee, can you confirm for me that the kit, the box, is $62?
62 or 3, yeah. Okay. She had a 2:30 appointment. I know that she had to.
So some of the others. So I will tell you that if you go to a global luxury certification course, and Robert, maybe I should be asking you this, Mr. Schilling. At the course, what did they teach you with regards to the global luxury listing presentation?
Well, he had said he likes to bring the box with him. And a lot of times he'll send it before his presentation and say, here you go, take a look at this. And then really his job is when he goes in, he just closes them when he comes into that meeting. So it's just a powerful way of doing it.
And it's interesting because the more of these folks that are doing ridiculous numbers, the more you learn that it's more about the theater of it all. So what they're doing is they're taking this beautiful content, they're having it special delivered. If they're in town, somebody else other than you is delivering it. If it's someplace else, as Karen had mentioned, having it FedExed, but it's all in advance. They'll tell you there is no global luxury person that wants to sit there and have you go through a magazine and talk to them about all the same shit that they can read on their own. What they want to know are typically 5 or 7 very specific things, and we can play around with that. What is that? What are the 5 to 7 things every single seller wants to know?
How soon it's going to sell, what the price is, what can you do for me that somebody else can't?
Okay.
Service.
Service or marketing?
Yes.
Okay.
I think either one's.
Okay. What else?
How are you going to find a buyer for my property? This is Lynn Ford in Telluride.
Okay.
I think you got to ask them to find out.
Okay, so just because I know you can take it, I'll tell you you're wrong, but I wouldn't do that with anybody else.
Bring it.
Okay.
Why am I wrong?
Time, money, marketing, leads, right? How about experience? Do they want to know that you've been there before? No?
Yes.
Nobody?
I think in that segment they probably do, unless you have a good working relationship with them somehow, some other way.
Past production.
Yeah, experience, okay, past production.
Well, I think Derek said it, what are you going to do for me different than everybody else in the marketplace can do? We all have the same buzzwords, just your listing, but what are you going to do that's different, unique, and going to get my property sold that nobody else can do?
Okay.
Differentiality.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying they don't want to know all that stuff. I'm just saying you got to ask them what they do want to know in addition to all that ahead of the appointment.
Okay. Anything else?
Convenience. Like, is this going to be a hassle for me?
Ah, thank you. Is that Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, how would we word that? Because it's more than that, right? It's the entire process, right? How are you going to communicate with me? How are you going to? I'm just going to put process here, okay? Okay, so you've got a number of things on there. So I'll tell you, if you go and you talk to any of these global luxury level people, they're going in. It's about the theater. They've already given you all the information. Frankly, that type of clientele probably has already done all the research. In many cases, they know as much as you do about the market already. So by going in and having had that presentation delivered to them, having some theater there, having provided them with, maybe you come with samples, maybe you come with your CVX, and you're talking about how you're going to identify specific neighborhoods in the Seattle market or the Dallas market, and how you can actually target those. Those are very powerful pieces, right? And so, Lynn, that was speaking to, how are you going to do something different? But watch this. So I walk in and I'm saying something along the lines of, hey, listen, Karen, thank you very much for the opportunity. Do you have any questions about this stuff? Great. Hey, listen, do you mind? Can we just cut and let me share with you the 7 things that every luxury seller asks? And then I just go in. Now, you have to be scripted, right? You've got to really know what you're going to say, and you got to you have to own it, right? But do you mind? Can I just? So I know your time is super important. Can I just cut to the 7 things every luxury seller asks before they list their property with me? And then I go through them. How long is it going to take me to sell my property? What's the price of my property? What kind of marketing are you going to do that's different, right? That's why I put a square around this, because to me, I think differentiation is really the marketing piece. I could be wrong, right? How are you going to find buyers? CBX. When I sold the Johnson house down the street, or when the McCarthy's over here bought their property, being able to speak to it, you've got to be really, really scripted. But I'm going to tell you right now, when you go to the Global Luxury certification, they're going to be telling you not to sit across from your client and thumbing through something. It's about feeling it. It's about experiencing it. It's about hearing you as an authority in the matter. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Karen gave you an absolutely.
Okay, awesome. I will take that as. Okay. So how are you all going to take all of this stuff? And Derek, you've got all the samples there. Do you want to maybe make your screen bigger so that we can see you in a different view, and just make sure everybody knows what the pieces are and what they're called?
Yeah, so I'm going to share my screen. And I had a number of things up from websites that I think you need to be using. And some of these, again, it's up to you, it's up to your clients, but you can be sending these things ahead of time. Here's our half-hour presentation. I'll send this link when I send the recording. There's a 45-second global luxury teaser that they put together with the launch of previews. You should have these things sitting somewhere, so if someone just wants to know, well, if they say, look, I don't even know if Coldwell Banker is the luxury site for me or the office for me, send them this. It's pretty awesome. It's 45 seconds. Here's that report. that we talked about that you could send. And it's 41 pages, but it's super, it goes into everything that a high-end buyer would want to know. Okay. And there was the Global Luxury Heritage that I had sent you, Todd. In terms of the pieces, are you talking like what? I mean, you've all seen the black box, so we don't need to go over that. But what other pieces do you want me to show right now?
Got it. I'm open. It doesn't need to be anything you want to me.
So the numbers that in 2017 have come back like this. Todd's already spoken to them that we pretty much double Sotheby's. The reason Sotheby's never talks about where they are in the market is because they're not in first, right? So that's a pretty good indication that they're not quite as strong nationwide, worldwide as we are.
But they have graphs without us.
And they have graphs without us on it. Yeah, we have graphs without them on it. There's probably some cat and mouse, but here are the numbers that are real that you can speak to. And this can be part of your pitch for a higher end seller or a higher end buyer that isn't sure they want to work with Coldwell Banker. Well, here's why. Every day, Coldwell Banker sells $149 million in luxury residential real estate, being $1 million or over. Last year, we did 28,000, almost 29,000 transaction sides with an average sales price of 1.9 million. That's worldwide. That puts us in the driver's seat in the luxury market, right? From a company standpoint, and I ran these numbers today, Todd, it was pretty fun. In the last 18 months, so all of 2017 and to today this year, our company has done 66 sides of $1 million or more. So that's all 7 of our offices, average sales price of 1.5 million. Just to be able to, like, I'm a firm believer that if you can talk about these numbers and sound like you know what you're talking about, that's going to move the needle for a lot of these sellers. You talk about 29,000 transaction sides, they're going to go, wow, this agent knows their stuff. And then here are the thresholds and some of the websites. So I put this together today at the request of Steamboat, actually, and I can send this along. But I really think that with some of these things that Coldwell Banker generates, these numbers, that puts us in the driver's seat. And you combine that with the global luxury feel, with the box. I think it's, as Robert was saying earlier, it's tough to beat when you come in with all this information and with these tools. So I don't know why everything highlighted that way. At any rate, what I'd like to do, Jim had asked about a cheat sheet, and Karen was saying, yes, that would be good, is to put something together for our global luxury agents that says, once something turns global luxury, these are all the things that happen. Then it's kind of up to an agent to find all those things. I don't think you can ask the company to find your listing on the Robb Report and in Wall Street Journal online and all those things. But once it does become global luxury, all those things do kick in. So, and again, you don't have to be an agent, a global luxury agent, to have those things happen for your property. So Telluride, none of you are certified yet. It doesn't mean that we're not going to put some of your listings into the global luxury sphere. So,
can I have an add or ask to that, please? Is one, when going into a preliminary interview, I find it really helpful to go ahead and ask the client, how do you like to be communicated with? And that cues me on what they want to hear while I'm there. And it's so important what Todd's saying, being scripted, but I think if you can take a cue from how do you like to be communicated with, email only, then I'll know that, okay, zip it, Jim, because I'll ramble on and close it down to Cliff Notes. And then 2, I'd be really interested in hearing this number of sides that happen outside of the area because we're affiliated with the syndication with Global Luxury. So we sell the fact that we're globally syndicated, and how many of the sales that happen within the Global Luxury market happen from buyers coming in from outside of that one particular area of that market. So what are I'm just curious on my own to know that. Does that make sense to you, Derek? Seeing a puzzling look there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what question
you're asking. Globally, or are you asking just outside the zip code?
That's correct. How many buyers are coming from outside of zip code? Thank you, Todd.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Michael Ward. Hey, Jim, you know, when we talk about size, global luxury, and we start out with, you know, $1.9 million. I mean, that's kind of, in my market in Telluride,
It's like entry level.
It's like entry level. I mean, is there any information that we can put out there that, let's say, from $3 million on up, that's more of the global luxury for this area, I think. And I'm not trying to be a snob or anything, but
No. I totally hear what you're saying. And the short answer is yes. You probably have to get it from Craig, but hear me out here, right? So I go to Dallas, and what costs $3 million in Telluride costs me $1 million in Dallas, right? And so what they're doing is they're basically using the definition of global luxury as the top, and I think they call it 10%. I don't think it works out to be that. I think it works out to be more like 20%, but it's the top of that individual market. So it's buying power. But I do believe that those numbers do exist to know, you know, how many. I think they did it based on 3, 5, 10, and I don't know. It may have been over $100 million as well. But like they tracked the 5 most expensive sales, and Coldwell Banker represented 3 of them. And, you know, all of that stuff. So.
Yeah. And Michael, the answer to your question, I would think, lies in your MLS. If there's someone in your office, Eric, that is really adept at gathering.
Yeah, he's asking within global luxury as a whole, what are our numbers over 3 million?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can put together what are our numbers over 3 million in my market, but as a global, if we're trying to get people to come in from other places, and we want to show the people here that there is people from other places that come in that spend $3 to $5 to $10 million all over. And it'd be interesting to know that fact on how many does Coldwell Banker do across the, you know, in the global network.
Well, it's 28,750, right?
Yeah,
Right.
Exactly.
But yeah, and to speak to what Michael's saying, you know, and this is just belaboring it, you know, from our standpoint, people who are in that global luxury category in this market would look at you know, if our number is 1 point whatever million, they're like, that's, you know, the shack down the street. So.
Right. No, I totally hear you. Chances are wherever they're coming from, unless they're coming from New York or Chicago, well, even Chicago's price is significantly lower per foot than Telluride's is. And so what they're doing is they're saying global luxury means different price points, but it doesn't mean different qualities from market to market to market. So it's not just a price piece, it's a price and a product. But yeah, we can get the information. I would hate for you to dilute the information to just be 3 million when it really, that's not the point. The point really is the type of product requires a different way of marketing, regardless of whether or not it's $1 million in Dallas or it's $10 million in Aspen. It has to function differently.
But we'll try to dig into that a little bit for Telluride numbers, or for $3 million in Apples. I'm sure they have those aggregated somewhere. We'll see.
Yeah. And
I think for the.
Sorry.
This is Robert. I was just going to say, I think for the presentation side of it, you just leave that out. You know what I mean? When I've gone after listings that were higher than that, I just didn't say the average price, right? The other numbers still sound great, and then I just left out the average being 1.9.
So.
Hey, Todd, this is Dave. Just my only thought on that, like the way I would leverage that, if I'm talking about, you know, how Coldwell Banker has more of these, you know, all across this broad spectrum of places. It's really just, it's more this idea that there's this giant network of Coldwell Banker agents, and they sell more of these $1 million properties. And most of the people that I've sold these higher end properties to, they already own more than one, or at least one other someplace else. And so I try to just sort of leverage that idea that, you know, you just tapping into this broader base of potential buyers because you're part of this network that, that sells more of this stuff. And I think most of these people who own more than, you know, they already own one somewhere else. They're like, oh yeah, that's right. I might have even worked with a Coldwell Banker agent back in, you know, Houston or whatever. So I think that's how you can leverage that, even if the price point isn't quite the same.
No. So I do want to, thanks Dave, by the way. I do want to touch just quickly on the Sotheby's, Christie's kind of component, right? So as I got to spend some time with Craig, I got to hear some inside scoop. So parent company, Realogy, right? Realogy owns Coldwell Banker and Sotheby's, right? And so when the question is, why do we not have these data points? There's no cat and mouse going on. It is very specifically a directive from Realogy that says, hey, we own both of these brands. We can't have Coldwell Banker going out saying we are more than double Sotheby's, because it blows out Sotheby's. And it's this fairness doctrine. I think it's total dog shit, right? I just go on the record, being recorded, send it to Craig. I told him the same thing. But it is the deal, and it is what's going on. What he was able to tell me is, Todd, what I can tell you is that we're at 28,000 plus. Sotheby's is less than half. They're not even at 14,000 sides in 2017. So it's double. And Christie's is significantly lower than Sotheby's. And those things, like when you think about our markets, we either have a Christie's that's a player, a Sotheby's, or in a couple of the markets, both are players. It becomes really about you making sure that you're telling the story of Coldwell Banker dominance, period, right? The other part of that is to really talk about the size and scale of a Coldwell Banker as compared to a Sotheby's, for example, right? I can't remember what the last count was, but actually, Karen, you might be able to answer this better than me. But so we're at 93,000 and change agents, 3,000 offices, and Sotheby's, I think, is in the 25,000 agent range.
Yeah, low 20s.
Okay, so low 20s. I think that just speaks to the network. And if we're talking about reaching other markets, especially if we're in a resort, markets that are outside our immediate area, it means a ton to be able to leverage and talk about that network. So I think that's a huge deal, right? Of course, we can talk about distinctive properties. I think that's a big one as well. If I were you, I'd be pounding that, because in each of your markets, the size of Coldwell Banker distinctive properties as compared to the others is night and day. And so you should be able to talk about that. And I think it was great that Derek put together that little cheat sheet. That something along those lines would be listed in the last 18 months. Our company has sold 66 units that were listed in the luxury space as defined by the Luxury Institute of $1 million and higher, right? So those are powerful statements. And then the last thing I would say, and I'd probably close this whole thing up with this, there's a lot of information here. There is a ton. When it comes down to it, if you'll manage the theatrics properly to make sure that the experience that the listing prospect has prior to you even going on the listing appointment, and you get yourself prepared to have a very, very specific cut to the chase conversation, understanding the personality type of the person that you're dealing with, the only thing that's left is how you are perceived. And in each of your markets, you all have these people who own that space, all dress a very specific way. They speak a very specific way. Is Ned on this call? Ned's not on this call, right?
No.
Okay. So you guys can tell him, right? So I love Ned. Ned is probably one of the greatest human beings on the planet. Okay. He is a wonderful guy, has an incredible gift of gab. You just want to hug Ned. Ned has a big burly beard, right? You cannot have a big burly beard and live in the luxury space. I know it sounds horrible to say it out loud, but the truth of the matter is that you have to act the part. And if there are any You know, anybody wants to push back, you're welcome to. Like, I am not here to argue that the point. What I can tell you is go identify the top 10 brokers in the world. They're selling huge, massive dollars, right? And I'm talking, you know, $200, $300, $400 million. They all dress similarly. They all speak similarly. They're going to the similar events. They just walk the walk, and it's part of the theatrics. And I don't think any one of them has a beard. Karen, stop it.
We love Ned.
We love Ned. It's awesome.
Yeah. But he has a beard.
Any other parting words?
I was going to grow a beard.
Perfect.
You're awesome. Thank you, all of you.
We'll put some things together for you guys. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Yeah, thank you guys. I love you. I appreciate you guys spending the time here. We'll get you out of here. We'll get you a bunch of information coming your way.
Thanks, you guys. Appreciate the time.
Adios.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.